much. Deliver us, O Lord.
Something is happening, and it's affecting all of us.
What you are doing is failing. The sisters are traumatizing. I want to shut this down.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2025 horror drama The Ritual. The film is co-written and directed by David Midell and it stars Al Pacino, Dan Stevens, Ashley Greene, Abigail Cowan, Patrick Fabian and Patricia Heaton. Now the film is based on true life events and the most documented exorcism in American history, as they advertise. And if you do look this up online, you will see that this did indeed take place. And it focuses on two priests. We've got Dan Stevens, Father Joseph, and Al Pacino, Father Theodopoulos. And they are tasked with completing an exorcist on a young lady called Emma Schmidt, and it's based in 1928. When she was younger, Al Pacino's character, Father Theodopoulos, tried to do an exorcism on her when she was younger. It failed pretty much, but he kind of thought it kind of half worked and she was going to be okay maybe. Turns out she wasn't at all, and it came back with a vengeance now. So she has been transferred to Dan Stevens' church, and together with Al Pacino's character they have to perform this exorcism. In reality, when you research this, I think it went on for a number of months, the exorcism. In the movie it's more like a week, maybe two, something like that. Right, so what are my thoughts on The Ritual? Well, exorcism films. I mean, I personally enjoy them for the most part if they're done well. And I think since The Pope's Exorcist with Russell Crowe that came out a couple of years ago, which I really enjoyed, and that did reasonably well at the cinema, it's kind of reignited the genre a little bit. So I've actually personally been quite looking forward to this, you know. Okay, yes, I know it is based on a real exorcism that took place. The most documented exorcism in American history that apparently inspired, you know, many books and even movies like The Exorcist, etc., etc. Now, take that how you will. I am sure that the events in reality did not happen the way they are portrayed in this film. This has obviously been Hollywoodized to make it, obviously, an entertaining thing for you to watch. So you get the usual tropes here. And that is the biggest issue that I think a lot of people are going to have with this film. It kind of wallows in its tropes and cliches. But they are tropes and cliches that have been around for a long, long time in this genre. Why would they kind of try and do it any differently if that's not the way it was documented, is really what I'm trying to get at. It's, in my opinion, this is bolstered by some very, very strong performances by the whole cast here. They don't, while obviously the events of the exorcism and, you know, the whole climbing up walls and, you know, lifting nuns off the floor by the scalps and that kind of stuff, you've got all of that going on in the film. You know, it doesn't, you know, she doesn't turn into some demonic entity or anything like that. It just kind of hints at it for the most part and then strongly hints at it in some areas. And yes, she does some physical things that can't be explained. But it doesn't lean really heavily into the Hollywoodized version of exorcism films. It tries to keep it as grounded as it can while still trying to make it an entertaining exorcism film. And the performances really, really help here. I think they're all excellent. I really do. I think Al Pacino, some might look at his performance and maybe see it as a little bit, I don't know what the right word is really. You know, he goes for Similar thing to Russell Crowe's performance, I suppose, in The Pope's Exorcist. He's got like an Italian ring to his accent, but he's playing a real person. But then again, so was Russell Crowe in The Pope's Exorcist. But I really enjoyed Al Pacino's performance here. I really, really did. I thought it was a solid performance and a grounded performance by him. You know, Al Pacino, you might expect in a film like this for him to do his roaring yell that he does in films. You know what I mean? The over-the-top shouting and growling things that he does in his films. No, it's a very, very restrained and reserved performance by him that works really, really well for this film. And then we've got Dan Stevens, who plays this priest who does not buy into this at all. And this is 1928. Doesn't buy into this. He's more of the thoughts that she needs medical attention rather than this exorcism. So it takes a long time, if you like, for him to kind of get on board with this. His faith is really, really tested in this film. And again, you've got this one priest played by Al Pacino who completely believes, you know, he's a veteran. He understands what's going on. This fight between, you know, light and dark. Dan Stevens' character is really struggling with that. And then you've got all this poison that's coming out of this young woman after night. So they meet in her room night after night to kind of perform each stage of the exorcism. And each time they do it, it feels like there's a little bit more poison comes out of her, sort of thing. So it looks like she's declining, but in actual fact, you know, it's helping her lead down the road to recovery. But it starts affecting everybody else in this monastery, sort of thing. All the nuns, Dan Stevens' character, you know, they start getting, you know, poisoned almost by the evil that is being released. And I enjoyed all that side of it. There's no respite from it, though. It is literally what you get after about 10 or 15 minutes of this film is the nightly ritual of them performing the exorcism, and then the stuff during the day with Dan Stevens, you know, debating his own conscience and what he's seen, discussing with nuns, and him having arguments with Al Pacino's character. And that is kind of rinse and repeat. So if it's not for you, it's almost like this would actually work well as a stage play in my mind, because it's just that. That's really all you're getting for the majority of this film. During the day stuff, debates, you know, moral compass things going on, discussions with nuns and debates and arguments, and then the nightly ritual where it gets more and more intense until you get to kind of the end. I liked it. Yes, it's very, very cliched. Yes, it leans very, very heavily into the tropes that we've all seen before, but you could argue that the tropes we've all seen before were developed through the writings of this exorcism that took place in 1928, because it did inspire a lot of exorcism movies like The Exorcist, so on and so forth. So it was, I think, pretty good. Another thing I thought was quite interesting, you've got Patrick Fabian in this film. Now, that name might not sound familiar, but if you've seen the found footage film, The Last Exorcism, he plays the exorcist in that film. Which I thought was quite a nice touch. He plays like a bishop in this, and I thought, oh, I recognise him, and then I realised who it was. So I thought that was quite a nice little twist to kind of throw him in there. I don't know if they did it because it was The Last Exorcism, but I thought it was an interesting piece of casting. So yeah, I mean, if you like exorcism films, this is very much a ticking a lot of boxes. It doesn't stray from the formula, but the strong performances and the fairly grounded approach, and the fact that it is based on real events, kind of kept me interested throughout, and I quite enjoyed this one, I'm not going to lie. So let me know your thoughts if you've seen this film, if you're interested in checking it out, and I will of course be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.